Hello and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Veronica Danik-Boy. Today on the program, 4,390 soldiers, NSCDC, others to complement 30,000 policemen for Ekiti governorship election, RAPC, PDP, others meet, sign memorandum to defeat President Buhari. And later on the show, Fashola tells Discos to deliver power or quit. I will be hanging out with Ismail Omiklidan, Wale Adedayo, and Asukwa James. So, gentlemen, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Well, Journalist Hangout starts now. The clock is ticking fast and faster for the key players involved in the July the 14th governorship election in Ekiti State, as political parties involved in the contest intensify campaign in last-minute search to woo more voters. The organizers are putting finishing touches to arrangements for a hitch-free exercise. In all of this, the security is taking the front burner. The police is deploying 30,000 of its officers for effective security of voters and electoral materials. In addition, 4,390 soldiers and contingent from Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and other security agencies will complement the police. I'll start with you, Wale. Is this stemming from what happened in the 2014 election? Is this as a result of what happened at the 2014 election?
I don't want to believe so, because contrary to speculations in that regard, I think what is happening now, you know, there is a challenge of insecurity in the country. And for whatever it is worth, Ekiti State is the only state that is opposition in the Southwest. Either side A or side B may want to do everything possible to win the election. The first responsibility of any responsible government is to make sure that there is security, adequate security there. And so
30,000 policemen, over 4,000 soldiers.
You need to understand something. In Nigeria today, we don't have modern policing, and that is a fact. Because drones, apart from Lagos, and even in Lagos, it is not everywhere, drones are not monitoring anywhere. You don't have technology being deployed to assist in law enforcement. You still depend on human movements. I mean, as in physical policemen, physical soldiers being somewhere. Abroad, you see cameras everywhere, CCTV to capture people committing crimes and so on, or to act as a deterrence. If people are not on ground, then forget it. So I don't see any problems with that. There will have been problems with that if there has been a repeat of 2014, where you have hooded DSS, hooded policemen, hooded soldiers going at night.
For now, because we cannot conclude now. Because
no, it didn't start 2 days or 3 days to elections. People have been picked up. Fine, people have been picked up in Ekiti right now, but those who have been picked up, not just in Ekiti, but also in neighboring states, those who are likely to call known thugs, known criminals, suspected criminals, though they've not been charged. That's why I use the word known and suspected. To me, there's no big deal in, I mean, there's what the security people call this show of force, you know, just to deter people. So far, so good. There has not been anything from the PDP on ground to say that, look, their people are being intimidated or their people are being unduly arrested. There's no big deal about the
Ismail, bringing in now. So because from what he is saying, we don't have a modern policing, does that determine that we need to have this setting number come, you know, for the state, for the elections?
For me, I think the number is overkill, because apart from the 30,000 police personnel, we have close to 20,000 civil defense men. And my only worry is that as opposition, the APC went to court to challenge the involvement of military in election. And there is a court ruling, and to the best of my knowledge, no government, I think the case went up to appeal court. No government has come out to challenge the decision of the court. And it was clear that military has no business in elections. So I'm surprised that
they are being involved now.
They are being involved now. For whatever reason, I do not know. Again, look at what is the population of Ekiti. is about 2 million, between 1.7 1.8. According to INEC statistics, eligible voters cannot be more than 800,000. Now you are telling me that we are now sending close to 50,000 security. That's the one we know for now, because we don't know other security, that will join them. But I haven't said that whatever that will help to preserve the process is welcome. But I hope and pray that what we have always accused others of, we will not be guilty of doing same thing at the end of the day.
Preserving the process, Asuko, is this what is about, the deployment of this number of security operatives?
Well, I think that is what the government is trying to achieve, But just like Omikidon said, I think it's just an overkill. Like I remember 4 years ago when I covered elections in Ekiti, it was more like this, but eventually it turned out to be a very peaceful, election, even though there were accusations of top members of the APC being arrested
there were videos
in the night,
tear gassing and all
that, But this is even different, because I know even then the sitting governor was even attacked.
Yes.
Well, but this one is
that has not happened now.
And it has not happened. So I think what the government is trying to do is to make the process a little bit fair, so that even if to be fair, because you can't say in all elections it has to be everything will be fair and everything will be it's not possible. Really? There will be some challenges one way or the other. There will be complaints where in one place or the other. So the government is trying to make sure that nobody complains at the end of the process. So in terms of security, everybody that is coming there, anybody that is coming as a voter, should have confidence that if I'm voting, nobody should challenge me. So I think that is where the government is looking at, and what the government is looking at is, I'm going there to vote, and nobody should challenge me. I should not be, attacked or intimidated, or threatened, while trying to either protect my vote or go to vote.
But then the governor, Ayafashe, we know that he's made several allegations and all of this, and it's saying that this security was brought in as mercenaries. What do you make of his statement?
That's a wrong choice of word by Mr. Governor, if indeed he said that. You can't call your own security people mercenaries. The problem we have in Nigeria is that you look at the police, the soldiers, DSS, especially governors, the agents of the federal government. For God's sake, who is the federal government? The federal government is the executive in Abuja, along with the states and local governments. Yes. Many of them don't even realize that the police also, they are part of those who employ the police. They are part of the federal government. So for him to use that word, if indeed he used that word, I think it's a misnomer, and it is it shouldn't have come from him. It is not a question of mercenaries, because like he rightly pointed out, unlike what happened to Fayemi at that time, in fact, I think at some point, Ashwaji was boxed in a house in Ekiti. That has not happened now. So by and large, and I think I read something about the British High Commissioner in Nigeria today talking about the Ekiti elections, it must be free and fair. But more than that, anybody can mess up in Nigeria today. But because of social media and the availability of mobile phones with camera, with video, and so on, everybody, including security and government officials, they are watching themselves. They are not as expensive. So? I know so very, very well. They are watching themselves. They will not mess up as they used to do. Because, and then the other thing, don't forget, you're always talking about security. Don't forget that there are people who are from Ekiti, who are military officers, who are soldiers, who are policemen too, and they have friends. They may not be posted. They also have friends. Those who are being posted there, they have friends, they have relations, they have people they know who are from there. They won't just go there to go and foment trouble in the land where they were born or where they have friends. But above all, it's a question of monitoring. Nobody wants to mess up, whether police or soldier. You don't want your career to be cut short for whatever reason now. You want to behave responsibly. We, so far so good, have been happening, because there's not, so far, been any report of the like of what happened at that time till now. So all the things to me is just propaganda, which is normal in politics. You make a lot of noise so that people will see you as a victim, and they will start to sympathize with you. That's just it.
We're making a lot of noise, but then one could see that there's been so much desperation for the soul of Ekiti State, and a lot of momentum has been building up towards the election. But the question is, what are the key determinants for the outcome of this election from what you have seen, from the momentum built so far for you, Ismail? Well,
for me, Ekiti, it's very, very significant to both parties. Whatever happens in Ekiti on Saturday will go a long way to determine the fate of the parties, in the Southwest. I think so far, from the build-up to the election so far, apart from the noise in the media, the propaganda, on ground, I think there has not been any major incident. Underlying that. The only time we witnessed something close to that was probably when APC had their primary the first time, which was disrupted by thugs.
Yes.
For me, I mean, it was unfortunate. Unfortunately, again, the shooting we have recorded so far also happened during APC event. APC event, so I think APC has to be very careful. They must guide their launch very well. Now, Fayose is fighting the battle of his life.
How do you mean?
The election is largely between Fayose and Fayemi. I say so because the outcome, if Fayose loses that election, the outcome of that election will go a long way to determine what will be Fayose's political future in Nigeria. It will also go a long way to determine whether Fayose will be around for 2019 elections or not.
Why is it so?
Because, you see, he has raised a lot of stakes as far as that election is concerned. And he at a point, he was like the face of the opposition in the country. And there are members of the ruling party who don't like his guts. However, I also know for a fact that he's friend to some members of the ruling party. Of the ruling party. So Fayose needs Ekiti to continue the dominance of his small political dynasty over Ekiti. And so if he loses Ekiti, that may be his end politically. That may be the end of the road. So he's also putting everything into it. But there are issues that at the end of the day may likely determine how the voters will vote.
What are these issues?
One of those issues is the people will have to decide between stomach infrastructure and re-infrastructure development. For example, I was in the course of discussing with some of the electorate during the course of a story we were doing some times ago. I challenged some of them. I said, look, why will you support a man, they said, has not paid salaries for several months? And I was amazed by the responses I got. They said, look, the man is not being able to pay salary because of Fayemi. That because when the man came the first time, he was not owing salary. But that when Fayemi came, Fayemi allegedly mortgaged the future of it by taking a lot of loans, that it was the loan that Fayemi took that is making the man not being able to pay salary. You see how people think. This is how ordinary voters think. Again, recently too, there has been an allegation, which Fayemi too has come to debunk, that is coming to sack teachers.
Teachers, yes.
You understand me? Now, he has to do everything to show the teachers that, look, he's not coming to...
He has debunked it?
He has debunked it, but beyond debunking, he must go further to show that, look, he has nothing against them, and he's not because those teachers played significant role in easing Fayemi out. Yeah, because they see him as Oyibo, that it doesn't come down to their level.
He's alien to their
And if you observe, Fayemi too has changed his style of campaign.
Exactly.
Yes, he did.
He has changed his style of campaign. It's okay, if this is what Ekiti people want, look, I can also do it. You know, I watched his launch. He said that Fayemi Baka, Oti Yato citizen, Fayemi is Oti Sharp Pra. You know, so I think for now, the thing is 50-50. It can go either way.
Either way.
It can go either way.
That's a cool.
Yeah, exactly. If you, the election is going to be
keenly contested.
Very, too close to call, as they will always say. You know, we can't, even if you are a political pundit or an expert, you can't say it's this way or that way. Because if you look at even the rallies, PDP had their rally, I think last week, and we just saw one today. And you can see the crowd.
PDP will still have another one tomorrow.
Another one, you know, so you can see the crowd that is coming. If you are going to look at the crowd, it will be very difficult if you are outside to determine if all these ones are going to vote and they have PVC, and the other side too they have. That, man, it means if they start counting, it will be very, very close, you know. So, but just like he said, it's going to determine so many things. Fayoshe's, you know, political future, and even the general election, even the APC itself. Because, okay, if you look at all the elections that they've been having, you know, the Southwest is very critical and key to the APC in 2019. Because the president, okay, he has everything going for him in the North. Then in the Southwest, he has to make sure that he captures, let me use that word, he captures the Southwest to himself when it comes to the general election. Because the Southeast, he might want to have just maybe 25% votes in it, and the South. But he wants to have full votes, a block votes, what they call block votes in the Southwest. And this election is going to determine the election, the 2019, yes. You know. So that is why the president is trying to, this afternoon, I saw the president coming out to talk. For the first time, he wasn't shy with the words he was using. You know, he removed himself from the, you know, accusation of him sponsoring the herdsmen, and even spoke about the stomach infrastructure. You know, because originally I wasn't expecting that from the president, but he came out to say that. Because I wanted him to, you know, say things and things that are different, but it surprised me. I think the script writers actually did well, you know, to hit the nail on the head, to talk about the things they've been doing in Ekiti, the ones that have been done and the ones ongoing. And then the people should not even begin to think about what they've been saying about him. That is a different, it's not what they are saying. You know, it's not what they are saying. So the president needs the Southwest. He needs this Ekiti. Don't forget that we have some other people who are waiting, and they have the CUPP. Yes. You know, that want to scoop from the bucket. You know, from the bucket. So he knows that those guys, if they win, if the PDP wins this state, it will be a very tough battle for him in Osun, because there's another election in Osun. You know, so there are so many things that the dynamics now is very, very sloppy for all parties, but it is more for the APC because they have to win the election. And just like he said, Fayemi has been going out. Fayemi has been going out talking about issues, because he is now like a changed person. Most of the things I've been seeing, he comes out to talk about issues. Oh, I did this 4 years ago, and it's still existing. I even saw a story about the 5,000 he gave to a particular old woman and all that, you know. So, and that is what I also want the PDP guys to also do. Okay, Fayoshe has done so many things. The road projects he has been doing, the high court, you know, he built. Those are the things that he has to also incorporate into his own campaigns, you know. Apart from going in and out, because I know that right now what they are doing is house to house, door to door campaigns. It can also, you know, tell people, this is what I've done, this is what I would do, and all that, just like Fayemi is also doing, you know. All right.
Well, obviously the stakes are high, and the president talked about stomach infrastructure syndrome, like they mentioned, but then can we really take it away from these elections? What else can be built on for the parties and the people to decide, make their decision?
For the APC or PDP?
Both sides.
No, I think we're missing something when you emphasize a lot on stomach infrastructure. We write about it all the time. But one thing most people often forget is that in political communication, you want to win an election, either as a candidate or at the primary level within your own political party, you need to align with popular opinion. If you don't align with popular opinion, forget about it. You want to do this project, you want to do... The ordinary people, your party members, the ordinary voters out there, they are not bothered, they are not interested. The first thing you need to do as a pragmatic politician, or maybe your consultant or whoever is strategizing for you wants to understand, is that once you do not align with popular opinion, all these ones we are talking about, we talk about it, we write about it because we are uninterested. By the time we get involved in the process itself, we don't talk about all these ones. You need to align with popular opinion. And why is popular opinion important? Because it is the actual needs of the people, the pains they are feeling at the moment. People are feeling the impact of the economic situation in the country. They are feeling the impact of the insecurity. They are feeling the impact of unemployment of their children. You understand? There are families that 2, 3 graduates, 4, they don't have jobs. There are those whose people have been killed and so on. So what is it, as a politician, you want to run for office? What are those things that these people want? What are those things that really appeals to them? Not something that will happen in 3, 4 years' time after you must have won your election. No, their immediate needs. Of course, you have to build in those things later if you have a conscience, but your conscience, for God's sake, cannot win you an election. Ganifa Emi had conscience,
yes,
but he didn't build stomach infrastructure into it and these other things. And people want immediate benefits. So for me, the major factor that will really affect this election is the question of the herdsmen thing you spoke about. Because the PDP has gone to town seriously on that. If APC should win, they're going to give your land to farmers. And for God's sake, what is the major occupation in Ekiti? Majority of them are farmers. So by the time that kind of propaganda takes proper effect, end of story, especially in the rural areas, because they don't want anything herdsmen, anything problem between them and the herdsmen. So it's better we don't vote for these people who are going to bring the herdsmen. Then the second thing is the question of employment, and not just employment directly, because you are an elderly person or you are middle age in that kind of an area. What you expect is that your kids who are out of school, they should be sending money back home for you to feed. If they are not sending money back home for you to feed, there should be somebody somewhere. Oh, James is contesting the election. Waiting the man brings up. Waiting the. So if James is able to roll 1,000, 2,000, for God's sake, James is the man. If James is able to bring a bag of rice or half a bag of rice, James is the man. He's the man. So to me, James is the man. That's just it.
Okay. All right, now we need to quickly move forward. Still to come, RAPC, PDP, others meet, sign memorandum to defeat Buhari. Stay with us. All right, coalition or political alliance is as old as our political evolution as a country. A new coalition has been birthed in Nigeria as the race to the 2019 general election begins to take shape. The die is cast, or so it seems, as the opposition parties in Nigeria, bent on upstaging the ruling All Progressives Congress, that's the APC, unveiled a platform to actualize that dream, spearheaded by the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the RAPC. 39 political groups met in Abuja and signed a memorandum of understanding to form an alliance that will be used to wrest power from the APC in 2019. Christened Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, they aim to use the alliance to produce a sole presidential candidate to oust President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019. The days ahead are pregnant with what more to come. I'll start with you, Wale, again. History seems to be repeating itself. We remember how the APC came to bear before the 2015 elections. Now, this coalition, again, what do you make of it?
I think there's a difference here. You need to look at it critically. Yeah. The coalition that gave birth to APC is in a lot of ways different from this one. Exactly. You want to win a presidential election, there must be a rallying point. There must be a rallying agenda, sort of. In this coalition of, united political parties, there's nothing like that at the moment. right now...
When you say a rally, then we need to understand what you mean then by the rallying point. What do you mean?
What I mean by rallying point is that who is going to be your presidential candidate? There must be somebody that towards head and shoulders above the others. And the person must have a base.
That's the intention.
No. That's what I'm saying. If you look at the APC...
They are coming to that.
I understand. No, wait. If you look at the APC at that time, fine. Buhari may not have been able to win elections generally. But of all the times he's been contesting, you can say that the man has a base somewhere in the north. Tell me, which of them among all those in this coalition has a base like Buhari in any part of the country?
One person may not, but they came together.
You don't understand
like
what I'm saying? You had Kwankwanso at that time. You have Buhari. You have the others there. I'm talking about towards the APC presidential primary. In this one, it is not like that. Atiku is all over the place. He's well loved all over the country.
This and that. He doesn't have such...
Where is his base? Which state can he win single-handedly on his own? Kwankwanso, fine, you can talk about Kano. You understand now? But even Kano, there will be serious contest there. Tambua, fine, because he wrote on APC there. Can he on his own win?
Not on APC per se, but on Wamako's...
Exactly, can he on his own win election there? That's what I'm saying. Buhari on his own, with his name, go to the street in some places, just because of his name, without any political party ties. People will vote. So which of them among all these ones coalescing together has that kind of charisma to win?
So are you saying this is...
No, it's not dead on arrival. They can still work it out. You understand? They can still work it out. But for me, there's a lot of difference between what is being put together now and what happened during the APC period. And with the way things are going, well, I'm not a prophet or doom or whatever, but I think ego will play a lot of negative role in this one. Because after this one, I don't see an article contesting again. And if it is true that the Senate president is also interested in this one, that he might move out at some point to go and join them, the ego thing will be there as well. All of them, they want to feel one is superior to the other.
Okay, let's get Ismail's take on this.
I think they are also conscious of the fact he just raised about...
They are, because Chief Olufalaye mentioned something...
Not only him, Buba Galadima, the man leading the RAPC, he said that this is not going to be a tea party. There are demands we will be facing. Buhari is a military general, but I know him, and you know that I know him. If I were him, and if I were his advisor, I would advise him not to attempt to contest. All
right, before you continue, we have Isiaka on the line calling from Benue. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening, my sister.
Good evening.
As your guest here.
Good evening. Good evening.
I will make little submission. I will tell little submission expertly here, because of what you people are discussing there. To be honest, as this now, PDP and other political parties that make themselves to defeat them, it's very difficult for them. In the sense that if they cannot unite themselves and bring a good candidate that can be test of integrity between you and Buhari from the north, I don't think that any person in north that speaks now can defeat Buhari. If they will not come together and look for credible candidates, either they Atiku, Kwankwaso, whatever they will carry. If you don't have the integrity like Buhari, I'm telling you, it already fell on arrival. I'm telling you, they cannot make it.
All right, thank you, Siaka. Thank you.
So, as I was saying, they are conscious of that fact. Now, it is true that what happened yesterday is different from what happened in 2015. That is in terms of the political party, because 2015, they were major. The parties dropped their original name.
Perhaps this is heading towards that, perhaps.
It's not likely because of the timing. It's not likely because, however, APC has to go back to the drawing board because those who are behind this coalition, they have bases that they can deliver. For example, Bukola Saraki is going to deliver Kwara. And he may not have said he's part of this coalition, but anywhere you see Baraje, it is unlikely for you not to find Saraki's hands there. That is one. Now, Benue State, before yesterday, I knew for a fact that Autumn was going to defect from APC, and he was not going to PDP. He was either going to SDP or one. Now, with this coalition, what they are saying is that if, for example, we are in Benue State, if PDP poses the strongest threat to win the election, all other parties in this alliance will support the candidate. Now, if it is SDP, all other candidates, and for example, in Benue, for example, Autumn is likely heading to SDP. Now, if he heads to SDP, because he's an incumbent governor, there's every likelihood for PDP to want to allow him run and not support him. Now, if that happens, most of these states that were won by APC in 2015 were not won solely by APC's strength. They were won with the support of those who left PDP to help them win elections. Sokoto, for example, this man, Wamako, called Alu, he owns Sokoto to a large extent. And so wherever he goes, if, for example, he's not moving with Tambwa, Tambwa will have difficulty delivering Sokoto to wherever he goes. Now, in Kano, for example, Kwankwaso and Shekarau must try to bury their ego if they must deliver Kano to their new party.
Will that happen?
Well, it's unlikely because Shekarau left the APC because of Kwankwaso. And now Kwankwaso is returning to the PDP. So the PDP will have to find a way of managing them, because if the PDP makes a mistake of trying to hand over the structure in Kano again to Kwankwaso, there will be crisis. Shekarau, it's either he's going to move away or he will play Sidon Look. But Kano is a place that Buhari has always won. The only difference in 2015 was that the margin was wide. Yeah. In Kaduna too, for example, he won Kaduna in 2011. But what was the difference? I think about Jonathan had 1.1 or so. Buhari had 1.3 or so, I can't remember. The gap was not much. But in 2015, Jonathan had 4 something, Buhari had 1 point something. Now, all those who made that happen within the APC in Kaduna in 2015, they are leaving. And so it's unlikely for APC to still record that kind of votes in Kaduna. So APC, if APC is really desirous of winning the 2019 election, they have to go to the drawing board. And the national chairman of the party must learn how to talk to the aggrieved members of the party. Because calling them hungry people, for me, I don't think
undiplomatic, very, very undiplomatic.
Well, and they have also discountenanced this move and saying that, they, like you have said, these people have basis, and so we can't really discountenance it. But then he is saying that it wouldn't have as much impact on the outcome of the 2019 elections. That's for the APC.
No. There's no how it won't have impact. You know, it's just like someone losing somebody that is close to him or her. It will definitely have impact, you know. So it's just that the national chairman has to, you know, be very careful with the words he uses. I know he's a very good negotiator, so I wasn't even expecting him to use some words. If you are negotiating and you want people to stay with you, there are words you can use, you know, to pacify people to, you know, align with you, you know, for you to stay. But the words, they are too harsh. You know, coming from him. But be that as may, I'm just surprised that PDP, that claims to be the biggest party in Africa, is in search of auxiliary legs, you know, for him to stand, you know, for them to come back to power. SDP, ABGA, okay, ABGA, all these small parties, you know, some of them, if they don't even have what they call national headquarters in Abuja. Some of them, if you go to Abuja, it is maybe one room, self-contained. That is where they use for their headquarters, because the INEC, this thing, rule says you must have presence in Abuja. So they will, anywhere, they just show me a signboard, they will put the signboard there, then you see it, they say national headquarters. So but if the PDP thinks that, okay, bringing these guys together is going to, you know, bring them back in 2019, it's going to be a tall order. it's going to be a tall order, honestly. Because
but
if you look
it's
at
not
it,
really about the PDP anymore, since they are aligning with
it depends
other parties.
It depends. If you look at the demographics in Nigeria, the two major political parties, apart from maybe in the southeast that we have ABGA.
Just PDP and
it's just PDP and APC.
PDP and APC.
You know, okay, look at even the Ondo that we are thinking is going to be only PDP. Mimic will now move to Labour. It will start afresh again and start, you understand? So it's very difficult for SDP to win in most of the states, because they are going to use sole candidates maybe for governorship, for senators and all that, for the senatorial seat and House of Reps. So it will be very difficult. It's not going to be easy for them. But just like Umikdo said, the APC, for them to win the election, has to close ranks. They need to close ranks if they need to win this, because whether we like it or we don't, these guys are left from the new PDP and form our APC. They are vital for them to win the next election. And Nigerians are watching, even though Nigerians are no fools, because even if you look at them, the caliber of people that are in this CUPP, because I want to use CUPP for all of them now, because in this CUPP, you'll notice that it's the same faces that we've been seeing. So they need to give us something different. I tell so many people, like yesterday when I saw most of them, I said, why can't they, for instance, give us a new, let's have something fresh, something different.
So it's more about them, not really
it's just about them.
Yeah,
do you know where they will have problem? Sharing the spoils.
All right, we're coming to that. We're coming to that. We have a caller on the line. Please go ahead. Mukhtar on the line, please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen and ladies.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Well,
very well, thank you.
Let me correct one. I observed somebody there said Shekarau left APC because of Kankoso. That is not true.
Okay.
No, you think
Shekarau left APC because of the injustice meted on him. He said it clearly.
Okay.
Now, your analysis on saying that states like Kano and others in the north will go for Buhari, I think there might be some mistake there, because of the hardship that common man are facing in the whole federation. There was a time that Tinubu said there is hunger in the land. People are suffering. People are finding it difficult to feed themselves. People are finding it difficult to pay the hospital bills. People are finding it difficult to pay the school fees of their children. And there is no peace in the country. So there must be a solution to that problem. The common man votes Buhari because he is expected that he will have a good governance. Unfortunately, it is the contrary.
All right,
Mukhtar.
Mukhtar, thank you for your contribution. Thank you. All right, before the call came up, Asukwa talked about where they will have a problem is sharing the sport. Yeah. And that is where we talked about Chief Olufalaye saying that they are going to monitor the alliance and ensure that it doesn't break up as well, and ensure that ambition does not destroy the alliance.
How would that be done?
That's why
to me, well, I mean, in every way, he's a junior partner there now. Yes. Like he rightly pointed out, PDP is the biggest partner, junior partner. So what can a junior partner talk about maintaining?
What I think is happening is that, you know, recently PDP also lost some of its members to ADC and SDP.
Because they were aggrieved.
Maybe what they are trying to do is that, okay, even if you are still in the ADC or SDP, we still see you as one. Come and work for us. The interest is to sack APC. So let all of us join.
Let's sack them first.
Even the PDP has been funding some of these small parties for them.
But you see, if you, I think the last caller misunderstood the point I was trying to make. I'm not saying that Buhari will win all the north, but I'm saying that there are states that he has always won. But that in 2015, the gap with which he won them were wider compared to what it was in the past. I agree with the last caller that 2019 is going to be different. It's going to be different because in 2019, Buhari will be facing a fellow Northerner, he will be facing a fellow Muslim. And so the advantage, because most of the problems we have, the two things that have always divided us during the election is ethnicity and religion.
Exactly.
And it played very well in Buhari's favor in 2015. Unfortunately, that will not be there. So, and I don't know why the APC has refused to see through some of these things, because each time they come out to dismiss that, look, without them we win. I wonder.
Because even in 2015, the PDP didn't expect what happened. Because they were like, this same thing, without them, we can, when the 5 governors left.
Yes.
We're like, we can go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, that if PDP made that mistake, why should APC sit down and still make the same mistake? That's the point I'm making. In 2011, CPC was able to win Nasarawa. But in the presidential election, Buhari didn't win Nasarawa. He lost Nasarawa to Jonathan. In 2015, Buhari lost Nasarawa again to Jonathan. I think the mistake those around Buhari are making, they have been feeding him with false situation report. And that is why Buhari will always tell you that he won the 3 previous elections. But it's not correct. It's not correct, because you cannot win votes in Northeast and Northwest alone and now say you have won the whole country. But that is the impression Buhari has. And that is what they are trying to strengthen in him. That look, whether these people stay or not, we can still win. After all, we have been winning without them. But it's a big mistake they are making. And the earlier they realize that mistake, the better for them. In 2011, for example, he didn't campaign anywhere in the Southeast. So why will you expect people and you now sit down and you now sit down and say, the only where he almost made an impact was in Ogun State, and it was because of Ibikunle Amosun, who was running in 2007. Was it 2007? Yes, 2007, when he was running for the first time under AMP. That was where he made an impact. Now you cannot. People now use what happened in Ogun to say, okay, it happened in other states in the Southwest, but it's not correct.
That's not. It's wrong. So moving on now, Asuko, quickly.
Well, if for the so-called alliance, for anything that will be different, I need to see something different from this alliance that will make me want to love them. Let me use that word, because I know the APC, brought so many ideas and so many things. Okay, we are saying Buhari is going to come and change so many things. Okay, he has not, or he's trying to. Let me use that word. So if this alliance must work, let them. I want to see something different from what the APC is giving us. Not all this talk about fighting corruption. I know where they are all going to. I know that at the end of the day, it's our commonwealth.
All right, Wale, quickly, before we move on to the next
one. To me, honestly speaking, I mean, I don't see light at the end of the tunnel for the so-called coalition. That's the honest truth.
Wow. All right, quickly, yours.
Well, the thing is, if we always have a strong alternative on ground, the ruling party will never take the electorate for granted. Once they know that there's a strong alternative on ground to kick them out. So for me,
and this
I welcome anything that will give any government in power the reason to do what it ought to do for the electorate.
All right, now quickly, let's move on. One of the major problems facing Nigeria's march to greatness is the power supply tragedy. Despite huge money spent in the past years, adequate power generation remains a mirage. So it amounts to double tragedy for the country when generation companies, or GENCOs, generate 7,000 megawatts of electricity and only 5,000 could be distributed by distribution companies, DISCOs. The remaining 2,000 megawatts stocked and wasting away. Our Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has given the DISCOs order to shape up or shape out. At a briefing in Abuja on Monday, where he announced government's plan to procure equipment worth 72 billion naira to assist in distribution of the unused 2,000 megawatts of electricity, Fashola ordered power companies to provide electricity to consumers or quit the stage for more serious players. Will government walk the talk in its bid to give Nigerians constant power? Wale.
That's a big one, because in the first place, there's been argument that some of the DISCOs, don't let me use the word all of them, they don't have the capacity for the job at hand. They don't. Because like I was telling somebody in my hometown earlier in the morning, it's just like MTN. I use a MTN line, and they are telling me that I need to provide myself and those who subscribe to them, we need to provide masts in our area so that we could be able to make calls. Which is,
that
no,
is
I'm just using that
okay,
as me. Because for you to be asking consumers of electricity to provide transformers, you understand, which is what still happens till tomorrow. How many of them provide transformers? People buy transformers on their own. In fact, some places where they want to make sure that you don't have that because they say you don't pay, they want to take your wire and things like that, things that you bought yourself. And ordinarily, they are the ones that should provide it. The reality is that we need to face some things, some hard facts. See, all of us are complaining, and I'm using that word deliberately, all of us. Though not everybody is complaining, but majority of people are complaining there is no prepaid meter. If there is prepaid meter, okay, not many people will be complaining because all the bills they are bringing, they're estimated billing, not actual bills. But between you and I, the reality is that it's not as if they cannot provide these prepaid meters. To me, it's just all for an argument that the thing is that this and that, blah, blah, blah. The reality is that the current tariff on which people are being charged for electricity, to me, is not profitable for this discourse. Me, I know be one of them, but I'm a journalist. One thing I've discovered is the fact that it is not profitable for them to run at that rate of tariff. Forget it. If they should provide prepaid meter, they will run at a loss. Then apart from that, if there is the issue of law enforcement, a lot of guys, a lot of people, even with prepaid meter, you see people tapping electricity.
Is that why they will run at a loss?
No, the number one reason for loss is the question of tariff. Are they going to do it at the right rate, or government is going to fix the price? You understand? It's just like you have an Okada now, you are buying fuel at the rate of maybe 2,000 for a day. You run your Okada 2,000 naira per day, and the government has fixed it that it's 10 naira. You must carry people from point A to point B every day. It's not you that determines, it's government that determines the price at which you carry people. 10 naira. Meanwhile, that cannot sustain your Okada business. But because it's government that says so, you can't change it. You'll be running at a loss. You won't be able to feed your family. In a way, to me, that's the way I see it. I'm not an expert in those things, but from the little me I've been able to know, the tariff is not too okay for them. But I think that one way or the other, government ought to work some things out here. You understand? They ought to work some things out here because there are things that ought to have been on ground, or there are things that some people took for themselves one way or the other. I don't understand all those things. But the major thing I know that the tariff thing is key. Prepaid meter is no big deal. They can provide it within the shortest possible period of time. Providing transformers too should not be a big deal, for anybody. It shouldn't be a big deal because you have some streets, for instance, they're just tied to one small transformer, and before you know it, the whole thing is gone off, and there'll be no electricity in that area. But all of them are just managing one thing or the other there, and it's because what they are going to get out of it at the end of the day will not be enough for those discos. So they are still lying to us. That's the truth.
You want to say something?
Yeah, because the estimated billing thing is still a surprise, because I know, there's a country that said they are not even doing estimated billing anymore. So I don't know why we are finding it very difficult to, increase the tariff and also provide prepaid meters. If they increase, and then I'm seeing light 24 hours, I would pay. But not that I won't even see light. Then I'm paying more than what I'm consuming. That is why Nigerians are angry. Because sometimes if you look at it, you go home, there's no light. By the time you come, they brought like how many hours? 1 hour. Maybe for you to just quickly do 1 or 2 things.
I can bring the bill at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, they bring estimated bill. And these meters, they are not rocket science. It's not. We can, even our university, polytechnic students, we can use that as a project for them, and they will do it. So I don't know why we are making a mountain out of a molehill over this prepaid. You understand? We don't. If government says okay, they are bringing out 7,000 megawatts, because I know there was a time Fashola was saying that even the capacity, if they wheel out what they have in terms of generation, that the discos won't be able to, the equipment that they have, that is either the terminals, the wires that they have, will not be able to carry. So it means even the government will also have, because they are players in the industry, they must also see how they can change the wires. The transmission, has to be changed. The transformer, everything has to be changed so that they can wield this, what they have. Now they said they have 2,000 megawatts wasting away. So if they have 2,000, who is going to buy? Is it not the same people that will use it? Nigerians will use it. And that is why even some industries don't even have light. So why can't you tell the industries to buy the 2,000 megawatts?
Well, weren't these reasons the reason why the government went into an agreement with this investors or these people in the first place?
They even have the technical know-how. They just bought those licenses.
You see, in Nigeria, we deceive ourselves a lot. We don't tell each other the truth. We are agreed there's a need to involve private investors to make certain things work. But for God's sake, if I said I am doing this and I'm running at a loss, and you said you can do it better, why must you come and buy the one I am doing? Why don't you come and do your own so that we compete? The mistake the government, I won't call it a mistake because it's probably deliberate. But NEPA was sold to themselves. It was like a bazaar. They shared it among themselves. And unfortunately, those managing it don't have the technical know-how to manage these things. I pity Fashola. I pity him because it's always good to weigh one's words before letting them out. I recall what he said in the build-up to 2015 election, that any government who cannot fix power within 6 months, that government doesn't know what it's doing.
But he was saying he didn't say it.
No, listen, Fashola has been there now for over 3 years. He has not been able to fix the power. Because, you see, there are so many things involved in this power sector thing, especially the privatization. There is issue of political interference. Do you know that those who bought this, who invested in the power sector in Nigeria, it was our money. When I mean our money, government money that were used to purchase those
and
things.
They even gave them bailouts.
It's a loan. After then, they gave them bailout. I'm not sure they have repaid all those things. Look, if government, and there was a time some Nigerians rose up and were saying that, look, maybe they should terminate it. And I think I recall the minister saying that
to be difficult
it
to
will be
revoke.
difficult to revoke. And they did it deliberately because those who sold it to themselves, they were also part of the government. And so they will, I mean, I don't know why I'm into business with you and I am not seeing any gain, and you are saying I cannot terminate the business. Honestly, I really don't understand.
So where do we
because you are in Nigeria.
Yaradua,
because they're in Nigeria.
Yaradua, may God bless his soul. When Obasanjo was living in 2007, Obasanjo sold the 2 refineries to Otedola and Dangote. But when Yaradua came, he retrieved those refineries. Heaven did not fall. Were there no agreement signed for that? Why was that possible? So why can't we do this one too? No. The truth is that these people, look, just yesterday my wife was telling me that they have brought another bill. Guess how much? 28,000 something. The one I paid last month was about 30,000 naira.
A factory in your house.
It's no. And my kids, my wife, they go to school, my wife go to, they come back in the night, and most times there is no light. I have gone to the NEPA office in my area several times, give me prepared meter, because I know that if I have, they will tell you there's no prepared meter. Honestly speaking,
so we are in a fix.
We are in a fix, but so government, it's only government that has the solution to it. It's only government that has the solution to it.
The discourse cannot go into
It's only government that has solution to it, and the only solution is to take the bull by the horn and do the needful.
What is the needful?
The needful is to revoke
the agreement, take it back and sell it to competent people.
Revoke the agreement and take it back and sell it to competent hands.
That's it.
But in the short term, what do we do?
Do what? In
the short term, because revoking the agreement might take another period of time.
If they don't revoke the agreement, what are we getting right now? So what's the big deal? There's no light right now. So let them revoke the agreement. It's still the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah, that's just it.
Might not be all of them, but at least some of them are working. But the thing is, they are not working to capacity.
All right, quickly, if we have our last caller on the line. Abdurrahman, calling from Delta State. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm listening to you. I'm even watching you right now.
Thank you.
I have something to talk concerning the first issue before NEPA problem.
All right.
I want to try to contribute to what this very particular man.
Go on.
Abdurrahman? All right, quickly, because we're running out of time. Quickly, Asuko, you were saying something. So
Yeah, I think the government has to find a way. It's either decentralize the disco, you know, let's even make it an open thing. Let people come in for us to have power at the discos, even if it's every street or every local government. I think that was what the promise the APC even gave. You know,
right,
so that people will be able to make choices like having MTN. If I don't want MTN, I go to Airtel. If I don't want Airtel, I go to Glo. Just something like that.
Ismail,
so that everybody will be happy.
Power was one of the things the APC government promised us when they were coming to stabilize. And luckily for them, the first 3 weeks of their coming in, we had stable electricity, and they said body language. We want the body language to work for us because they will have to face us again for next year's election. All right, Wale.
Well, the thing is, each state or each component unit of the Nigerian Federation should be able to generate its own electricity, and it should not be centralized. That's my own personal belief.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your thoughts on the program. And that's all on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Remember, you can watch the repeat of the program at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. And Veronica Dan Ekboy. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.